For decades, I've studied human behavior, but there's something almost no one realizes. It's not the smartest who win. It's the ones who sound the smartest. Yes, it may seem like a contradiction, but it's the absolute truth. I've met people with extraordinary ideas whose lives never changed, and others with simple ideas who achieved massive results. The difference is never the idea itself. It's how they speak. And today, I'm going to give you 7 techniques powerful enough to transform your entire world. Techniques I used myself to turn a lost young man, me, into someone capable of influencing millions. Stay with me until the end. I promise you, you will never open your mouth the same way again. When I mention the power of your gaze, I'm not referring to something superficial. I'm talking about the first emotional impression you create before you even speak. It's instinctive. People decide in milliseconds whether they trust you or not, long before your words make sense. It took me years to understand this, and I learned it the hard way. Once, during a presentation, I was trying to explain an important idea, but my head was down, my eyes were drifting away from the audience. Afterward, one of the executives said to me, "Bob, it felt like you were trying to escape." That hit me like a punch in the stomach. In that moment, I realized something. People don't react to what you say. They react to what you project. So let me ask you directly, how many conversations have you lost before they even began? How many times did you have something valuable to say, but the other person didn't take you seriously? It wasn't because you lacked value. It was because your communication failed to create that invisible connection that makes someone truly listen. This is where your gaze comes in. A steady, present, balanced look. Not aggressive, not intimidating, just confident. When you look someone in the eyes, you send 3 silent messages. I'm here. I believe in what I'm saying. Furthermore, I care about you. And the human brain detects it instantly. Studies indicate that eye contact increases perceived trust and sincerity within seconds, not because people know you, but because the brain is wired to interpret steadiness as truth. And yes, I know the fear. What if I freeze? What if it feels awkward? What if they think I'm staring? Everyone feels that. Most people avoid eye contact because they fear revealing insecurity. But avoiding it actually reveals more insecurity than anything else. Have you ever seen someone try to look confident while staring at the floor? The brain detects the inconsistency immediately, and confidence collapses. That's why I insist, it's not about perfection. It's about presence, steadiness with humanity, intensity with authenticity. No exaggeration, just presence. I still remember the first time I applied this consciously. I was in a room with someone who had the power to change my financial life completely. That day, I chose not to look away. And something incredible happened. The conversation deepened. My words carried more weight. Respect appeared naturally. The person listened more closely, as if my voice had gained new gravity. Not because I had a better speech, but because my presence had changed. If you're thinking, "Bob, I don't know how to start. I get nervous. I forget to look." Let me give you something simple and powerful. Next time you speak to someone, decide on a point in their eyes, the center, the brow line, or the space between them, and hold that contact for just 2 seconds longer than usual. 2 seconds. That's all it takes to break an old pattern and ignite a new presence. It will feel awkward at first, but that's how every transformation begins. Awkward at first, transformational later. Now imagine your life if you started speaking as someone who truly believes in themselves. A job interview, a negotiation, A conversation with someone you love. How many doors would open if your presence spoke before your mouth did? You don't need to change your personality. You just need to adjust your starting point. Your gaze is that point. It shapes the energy of the conversation. It dictates the rhythm of confidence. Furthermore, it opens the space where your words enter with greater power. And here's something fascinating. When you train your gaze, you don't just improve communication, you improve your self-esteem. Because every time you hold someone's gaze, you send a silent message to yourself: I am enough. That's why leaders, communicators, and influential people have that steady, calm, present look. They weren't born with it. They trained for it. And today, you're taking the same step. Notice how the world reacts when you look someone in the eyes with authenticity. Notice how respect changes, how conversations deepen, how others feel seen. Because in the end, looking someone in the eyes isn't just communication, it's connection. And connection is what moves the world. Many people underestimate this power because they think communication is just choosing the right words. But throughout my life, I've learned something. Words are only the vehicle. The driver is your voice. If the driver is insecure, anxious, distant, stumbling, or rushing, the message loses its power before it even arrives. Your voice doesn't just carry what you think. It reveals who you are in that moment. That's why so many people lose impact without realizing it. Let me ask you, how many times have you said something important, but the other person felt nothing? You tried to inspire, explain, persuade, and they looked at you like they were listening to a random news report. That doesn't mean your message was weak. It means your voice failed to deliver the emotion your message deserved. The human brain reacts far more to the music of speech than to the content of sentences. Your tone, your rhythm, your pauses. These are the emotional architecture of your message. When your voice aligns with your intention, it becomes magnetic. It draws people in. It makes them feel what you feel. So train your voice not to impress, but to express. Speak slower when you want depth. Raise your tone when you want energy. Pause when you want power. Because silence, when used intentionally, is louder than any word. Your voice is not just sound, it's identity. And when you master it, you don't just communicate better. You lead. You inspire. Likewise, you transform. The story continues. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay strong.